to the last of the lecture in the series, Life After Death. Just to recap, last time we were together, we looked and we went over the judgment that will take place. Also, we looked at the starting of the Day of Judgment, about the resurrection, how that will occur, and of being judged as well. So today, what I'd like to do is try to go over the next stage, which is basically one of two outcomes. That the people will either be driven towards hellfire for punishment, or they will receive glad tidings and their places in Jinnah. I'd like to start today by beginning with an ayah from the Quran, from Surah Zumar. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in this Quran, in these ayat, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وأشرقت الأرض بنور ربها ووضع الكتاب وجيء بالنبيين والشهداء وقضي بينهم بالحق وهم لا يظلمون. And the earth will shine with the light of its Lord, meaning that Allah will come to judge between everybody. And the book will be placed open, and the prophets and the witnesses will be brought forward, and it will be judged between them with truth, and they will not be wronged. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَوَفِّيَتْ كُلُّ نَفْسٍ مَا عَمِلَتْ وَهُمْ أَعْلَمُ بِمَا يَفْعَلُونَ. And each person will be paid in full of what he did, and he's best aware of what they do. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the translation, and those who disbelieve will be driven to hell in groups. So when they reach it, the gates thereof will be opened suddenly like a prison at the arrival of the prisoners. And its keepers will say, did not the messengers come to you from yourselves, reciting to you the verses of your Lord, and warning you of the meeting of this day of yours? They will say, yes, but the word of torment has been justified against the disbelievers. It will be said to them, enter you into the gates of hell to abide therein. And indeed, what an evil abode of the arrogant. So this is one group of people. A group of people will be sent to the hellfire. The other group, those who kept their duty to their Lord, al-muttaqun, will be led in paradise in groups until when they reach it, its gates will be opened before their arrival. And its keepers will say, Salamun alaykum. Peace be upon you. You have done well, so enter here to abide therein forever. So these are the two groups. There's no in between. In fact, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions that there will be a group of people, and these group of people will be on Al-A'raf. And if you go to Surah Al-A'raf, the description of these people is given. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions about them that they will be standing on this place, okay, and they'll call out from this A'raf, from this wall elevated between Jannah and Jahannam, and they will say, the people of the A'raf, they'll call out to the men whom they will recognize by their marks. So they'll be looking down at the people in Jahannam, and they'll say, of what benefit to you were your great numbers, meaning your hordes of wealth, and your arrogance, meaning you're arrogant against accepting faith. And then the people of the hellfire will answer back to them that pour on us some water or anything that Allah has provided you with. And then it will be said to them, both water and provision Allah has forbidden for the disbelievers. These actually will be people who yet don't know their position, whether they're going to be in Jannah or Jahannam. These are the people who will be very, very nervous, of course. And here, on that day, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make that judgment for them. And the Prophet ﷺ said that on the day of resurrection, that when everybody has been given their place, has been driven either towards Jahannam or Jannah, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will command that death be brought forward in the shape of a ram, a male sheep. And then a call will be made. O people of paradise. Then those people will stretch their necks and they'll look carefully. Then they'll say, do you know this? And they'll say, yes, this is death. And then all of them will have seen it. And then it will be announced again, O people of hell. And they'll stretch their necks forward and they'll look carefully. And the caller will say, do you know this? And they'll say, yes, this is death. And by then, all of them will have seen it. Then that ram will be slaughtered. And the caller will say, O people of paradise, eternity for you and no death. O people of hell, eternity for you and no death. So this is the situation whereby will be the final destination. And I'd like to take us, not take us, na'udhu billah of course, but to remind us about one of the places that we need to avoid at all costs in the akhirah, or the place. And that of course is Jahannam. Jahannam has many names. And you find through the Quran and the Hadith different names mentioned to describe it. It's been described as Jahim, a fire, because it's blazing hot. Jahannam itself is a name because of the depth, it's a pit. Same as Hawiyah. Hawiyah is an abyss, a really deep, like a valley going deep down. Because whoever is thrown into it is thrown from the top down to the bottom of it. It's also been called Ladha, a blazing fire. Or Sa'ir, again, a fire which is blazing, because when you take coal or charcoal and you mix it, you kindle it up to let the air get into it and get even hotter, to ignite it. And Saqar, because of its intense heat. Hatama is another name, because of the broken pieces in the hellfire. And because it breaks everything and it crushes everything that is thrown into it. In terms of the reality, for sure, both Jahannam and Jannah exist. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks of the creation of Jahannam in the past tense. Where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَاتَّقُوا النَّارَ الَّتِي أُعِدَّتْ لِلْكَافِرِينَ. And fear the fire which is prepared, it's already been prepared for the disbelievers. So it is already there. We believe in that as part of our belief. And the Prophet ﷺ said, in the meaning of the hadith, that when any one of you dies, he's shown his position in the hereafter, in the akhirah, morning and evening when you're in your grave. And if he's one of the people of paradise, he's shown the place of the people of paradise. And if he's one of the people of hellfire, he's shown the place of the people of hell. And he's told that this is your position until Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala resurrects you on the day of resurrection. Yawm al-Ba'ath. In another hadith we know where the Prophet ﷺ said that surely the soul of a believer is a bird hanging on the trees of paradise until Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala returns it to his body on the day of resurrection. We know that this place, Jahannam, it's a place where souls enter them even before the day of resurrection. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions, يريدون أن يخرجوا من النار وهم بخارجين منها وما هم بخارجين منها ولهم عذاب مقيم. They will long to leave the fire, but they will never leave there from it, and theirs will be a lasting torment. Jahannam, the hellfire, has keepers. These keepers are mighty, strong, stern, and they are those who never disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commands, they do. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu qu anfusakum wa ahlikum nara. O you who believe, Save yourselves and your families from the fire. From a fire. نَارٌ وَقُودُهَا النَّاسُ وَالْحِجَارَةُ. A fire whose fuel is men and stones. Normally, for a fire you put wood, charcoal, coal, whatever. Here, Jahannam, the fuel of Jahannam is human beings and stones. So over this fire, the angels stand, severe, stern. They don't flinch. Whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has asked them to carry out the commands, they do those commands exactly as they're commanded. Jahannam, its size is huge, wide and deep. And we know this because the Prophet ﷺ told us in the meaning of the hadith that an innumerable people enter hellfire. I mean, so many you can't count them. And Jahannam has molar teeth. You know the teeth you have for chewing? Jahannam has molar teeth the size of Mount Uhud. And the distance between the shoulders of its inhabitants has been described as being as if you traveled a distance between 3 days of walking. And in Jahannam, the people who are disbelievers, kuffar, people who are mujrimeen, sinners, criminals, whoever existed from the beginning of time until the last person, all of them will be there. And even then, there'll be room for more. Jahannam will say, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, يَوْمَ نَقُولُ جَهَنَّمَ حَلِمْتَ لَا تَقُولُ هَلْ مِن مَزِيدٍ. That on that day, Jahannam will say, are there any more? It will ask to be filled up with more and more. Are there any more? It will be hungry to take more souls, more people. If a stone was to be thrown into Jahannam, Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us that this stone would be going down in the depth of the hellfire for a time of 70 years and it still wouldn't reach the bottom. La ilaha illallah. Can you imagine how big that place must be? 70 years a stone is dropping and still it's not stopping. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that Jahannam will be brought by angels. وَجِيءَ يَوْمَئِذٍ بِجَهَنَّمَ يَوْمَئِذٍ يَتَذَكَّرُ الْإِنسَانُ وَأَنَّى لَهُ الذِّكْرَى. On that day, hellfire will be brought near. On that day. On that day, mankind will remember the remembrance. They'll remember about this day. They were told about this. They were warned about this. And that Jahannam, when it's been brought, it will be dragged by angels. 70,000 chains attached to Jahannam. And each one of those chains will have 70,000 angels pulling it. Subhanallah al-Azim. Just imagine how great that creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, how mighty, how fearful it must be. The size of it. Jahannam has gates, 7 gates. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions, وَإِنَّ جَهَنَّمَ لَمَوْعِدُهُمْ أَجْمَعِينَ. And surely hell is a promised place for those people who are disbelievers and wrongdoers. لَهَا سَبْعَةُ أَبْوَابٍ. For it there are 7 gates. لِكُلِّ بَابٍ مِّنْهُمَا جُزْءٌ مَقْصُومٌ. For each of these gates, there is a special class of sinners to go through them. If a person did a certain sin, they'll go through Jahannam through that gate. If another one did another sin, they'll go through that gate. Another sin, so 7 gates for the sinners. Na'udhu billah min dhalik. So the people will be driven towards a hellfire. And the gates will fly open for them. And they'll be entered into Jahannam. And they'll be told, enter into it and there you'll be forever. The situation of those people once they're inside, what will it be? Those people will be wearing clothes. But Ya Allah, can you imagine what clothes? You think it's going to be nice, cotton, polyester, wool, silkiness, designer clothing like Armani? No. Those people will be wearing, yes, tailored clothing, but they'll be tailored for them. Why? They'll be made out of garments of fire. They'll be wearing clothes of fire on their skin. Subhanallah Azim. Can you imagine having to wear clothes of fire? We can't even put our hand into hot water today and we get scolded. How could a person be wearing clothes of fire? How could a person be able to deal with that? Na'udhu billah. May Allah save us from that punishment. And those people will be bound in shackles like handcuffs, chains. And on top of their heads, boiling hot water will be poured onto their heads. On that day, those will be the criminals. Those who disbelieved in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Those who didn't care about Allah's limits and forgot about that day. Jahannam, of course, is a place whereby the heat will be unbearable. Like a furnace. You know when you take iron, you put it to melt it? A furnace like that? Jahannam is even worse than that. The sun that we have here is only one out of 70 parts of the hellfire. This is the heat of the sun. Subhanallah. So many different types of heat we don't even know about. This is the only one type of heat that we know. Allah musta'an. And those people in hellfire, for sure, they'll have hunger and they'll have thirst. What did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promise for those people? لَيْسَ لَهُمْ طَعَامٌ إِلَّا مِنْ ضَرِيعٍ لَا يُسْمِنُ وَلَا يُغْنِي مِنْ جُوعٍ. No food will they have there except from a bitter thorny plant, which will not give them any nourishment, nor will it give them anything against their hunger, to satisfy their hunger. It won't taste good. It's only going to be the food which is a punishment. In fact, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala described that food as being from the tree of Zaqqum. This is a special type of food. It's a tree, a disgusting tree. Its roots go deep into the bottom of Jahannam, and its branches stretch all over. And its fruit is ugly like the heads of devils. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the meaning, indeed the tree of Zaqqum is food for the sinful, like murky oil. It boils within the bellies, like the boiling with scalding water. Imagine, brothers or sisters, in the morning when you drink hot tea, and you drink it too quickly and it scalds your mouth, or went down, you feel the pain burning you. Imagine a boiling which is cutting your insides of your stomachs open. This is Zaqqum. In fact, the people of Jahannam will become so hungry that they'll eat of this tree. It will fill their bellies, and that's when their bellies will start to rip apart inside. They will feel extreme pain. And at that point, they'll also want to drink something because it's boiling hot inside. Yet, what will they be given to drink? Boiling hot, disgusting water. And they'll drink this like a thirsty camel. But it won't quench their thirsts. Even that boiling water will cut up their insides. And they'll be given another thing. Pus. You know, you get spots, zits, the yellow thing, that the disgusting thing comes out of it. This is pus. This will be also given to the people to eat in Jahannam. وَنَعُوذُ بِاللَّهِ مِنْ ذَلِكَ. It will be given to those people who used to do adultery, Jinnah. And when the people eat this and drink this, it will cause the skin to fall off, decay, and their meat to start becoming burnt. This is the juice of the people of Jahannam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَلَيْسَ لَهُ الْيَوْمَ هَاهُنَا حَمِيمٌ وَلَا طَعَامٌ إِلَّا مِنْ غِسْلِينٍ لَا يَأْكُلُهُ إِلَّا الْخَاطِئُونَ. So no friend has he on that day, nor has he any food except the filth from the washing of wounds, is pus, and of its type of various kinds. Nobody will eat it except that wrongdoer who was put into Jahannam. some of the sinners will also be fed fire. They'll eat fire from the Jahannam. Those who used to take the property of orphans. Brothers and sisters, how many people do we know? Masakeen. When the children are orphans, family members, they swindle them out of their fortune. They eat their inheritance. For such people, they should fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because for them, what are they doing? They're eating nothing except the fire. This is the promise of Allah for those people. And you find this, especially in cases of inheritance. People kicked out or locked out of inheritances. So the people were drinking such boiling water and the pus of wounds. At that time, brothers and sisters, when people are facing those punishments, when they are in utter pain, a few moments in hellfire, and person will forget all the good times they had here in the dunya, how they enjoyed their lusts and their desires, the hawa, the shahwa. The Prophet ﷺ told us, on the day of resurrection, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked the one whose punishment in the hellfire is the lightest, if you had whatsoever you wanted on earth, would you give it away to save yourself? And he'll say yes. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will say, I wanted less than that from you when you were still in the loins of Adam. I asked you not to associate anything in worship with me, but you insisted on associating others in worship, yani making shirk. Allah asked, just worship Allah with tawheed, that's it. That's all we were asked to do. And on that day, they want to ransom everything. Their life, their money, their wealth, their children, everything that they had, they wish to give it up, but it'll be too late for those people. So this will be the hellfire. The lowest will be a person standing in the hellfire and his brains are boiling. That is the lowest type of punishment. People whose skin's being roasted day in, day out. Not only that, when the skin is roasted, brothers and sisters, it will grow back again. And therefore, you will face the punishment. You will taste it again and again, because once the skin has been burnt, there are pain receptors in the skin. And once the pain receptors have been burnt away, there's no feeling after that. Yet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make the people taste that punishment time and time again and cause the skin to regrow again and again and again after it's been burnt off, after the terrible pain has been tasted. So brothers and sisters, those are the people of Jahannam. People, criminals, they'll be dragged on their faces whilst they're in chains, chained up. Those who deny the ayat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Those people, Muslims also, who failed to go by what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded, what the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam had told us to do. We ignored, we did the opposite. Ar-Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam said this and we did that. We did not listen to his sunnah, we did not obey him, we did not follow him, we don't love to follow him. And we followed other than the Prophet ﷺ. So on that day, that is the outcome of those who disobeyed and went against the Prophet ﷺ. They'll be made to lie in a bed of fire, and there will be no letting down for them. Their insides will be ripped open. They will be punished, as we mentioned before, with rocks having their heads smashed open, their faces torn apart, molten iron as a punishment for them, fire put around their necks, the clothes of fire, all these and more. This is the outcome. And there will be no death. No death for those people once Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has decreed. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, خَالِدِينَ فِيهَا أَبَدًا, there they will reside forever. This is the outcome. Those people will call out. They will scream. They will cry out. وَهُمْ يَسْتَرِخُونَ فِيهَا رَبَّنَا أَخْرِجْنَا نَعْمَلْ صَالِحًا غَيْرَ الَّذِي كُنَّا نَعْمَلْ. They will cry out, oh Lord, Ya Allah, remove us. We'll do righteous actions other than what we used to be doing. Too late. Once a person has been destined for that hellfire, there's no chances. The chances, my brother, my sister, are in this dunya. They're here. Whilst we're alive, earn the righteous good actions. Once that maut comes to us, it's too late. No time for prayers there. Whatever you missed in this world, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will punish us there for every prayer that we missed. And the people of the hellfire will be kept there. Even they will try to call out to Malik, the keeper of the hellfire. Malik, they'll say, oh Lord, oh Malik, tell your Lord to put an end to us. Meaning even to destroy them. No. Their punishment will never be reduced. It's going to be eternal forever. So they will cry. They will cry. They laughed in this world, but in the akhirah, they will be those who will cry. And when they cry, see how they will cry. They will cry. They will weep so much, cry so much, until they will have tears of blood. And there'll be channels in their cheeks, marks so wide you would sail a ship down them. But those tears will be of no use, because they rejected what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to be done in this dunya. And that will be the situation of those people of hellfire. Brothers and sisters in Islam, we want to be the people who are guided, the people who will be driven towards Jinnah. Let us remind ourselves of Jinnah, so at least we have the enthusiasm towards it, that we may try to make ourselves better. Brothers and sisters, whatever thoughts you had about Jinnah, we will never truly able to comprehend what Jinnah is really like. When the Prophet ﷺ said that Allah has said that I prepared for my righteous servants what no eye has seen, what no ear has heard, and has never even crossed the minds of man. And then this is what the Prophet ﷺ recited: فَلَا تَعْلَمُ نَفْسٌ مَا أُخْفِيَ لَهُم مِّن قُرَّةِ أَعْيُنٍ جَزَاءً بِمَا كَانُوا يَعْمَلُونَ. No person knows what is kept hidden from them of joy as a reward for what they used to do. Yani, when we used to do righteous actions here, that investment is there for us in the akhirah, waiting for us. We never imagined, we could never comprehend with our minute understanding and comprehension. As Ibn al-Qayyim said, how can the small weak mind understand what Jannah is? Jannah, there's nothing like it. The delights of paradise defies description. It's sparkling, lights everywhere, fragrant, it's aromatic. The palaces, wherever you go, rivers flowing there. The roads of gold and silver, soil, saffron, musk, no bad smells. Subhanallah, nobody will feel miserable there ever. Nobody. Not only that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that when you look in paradise, you will see a delight that you can never imagine, and a great dominion, Jannah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala set up Jannah in levels by the hand of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself, as a reward for those who Allah loves, the believers. The inhabitants of Jannah, subhanallah, they'll be there with Allah's mercy. They'll be beautified, relaxed. They will be looking, wearing the best of clothes, garments, clothes of silk and gold. They'll be wearing bracelets. The gold that was haram for the men here, in the akhirah and Jannah, you'll have that. Gold and silver, cups, utensils, rubies, pearls and diamonds encrusted in palaces. Subhanallah. And when we feel thirsty, subhanallah, Jannah, it's temperature perfect. Not too hot, not too cold. Beautiful, shining, like summer. Subhanallah. And if you are thirsty, subhanallah, وَسَقَاهُمْ رَبُّهُمْ شَرَابًا طَهُورًا. And the Lord will give them a pure drink. What is that? Why would they be given that? إِنَّ هَذَا كَانَ لَكُمْ جَزَاءً وَكَانَ سَعْيُكُمْ مَشْكُورًا. This is a reward for what you used to endeavor, for your hard work. This will be a reward because it's been accepted from you. And what is that? That will be a drink of wine that doesn't intoxicate. Honey, pure milk that doesn't go off. springs that you'll just take your cups from. This is Jannah, everlasting. Jannah, a place of security. Jannah, a place of blessing, a place of pleasure. As we mentioned, the different levels of Jannah. The lowest level, you'll see, is a person who'll enter paradise when everybody else has entered paradise. And he will be told, go, enter into paradise. And he'll say, Ya Rabb, how? The people have already taken their places. So Allah will ask him, will you not be content if you could have the equivalent of a kingdom on earth? And he'll say, yes, my Rabb. So he'll add, or he'll be told, you will have that, and as much again, and again, and again, and as much again. On the fifth time he'll say, I'm content with that, my Rabb. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given, that's the minimum, like a kingdom on earth. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is generous to the believers. And the highest levels of Jannah, subhanallah, those, the Prophet ﷺ said and mentioned in the hadith, when Musa asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Ya Rabb, Rabbi, who will have the highest status in paradise? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, they are those who I choose. I established their honor with my own hand and set a seal over it. And they were blessed with bounties which no eye has seen, no ear has heard, and no human mind can comprehend. If you want this highest level of paradise, this is Jannah al-Firdaus al-A'la, the highest level. Here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us the key, the instruction. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in Surah Al-Mu'minun, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قد أفلح المؤمنون. Successful indeed are the believers. الذين هم في صلاتهم خاشعون. Those who offer their salah with concentration, were submissive. وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ عَنِ اللَّغْوِ مُعْرِضُونَ. And those who turned away from false, evil talk and falsehood, everything that Allah forbidden. وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِلزَّكَاةِ فَاعِلُونَ. And those who give zakah. وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِفُرُوجِهِمْ حَافِظُونَ. And those who guard their chastity, they don't do anything haram in terms of sexual acts. إِلَّا عَلَى أَزْوَاجِهِمْ أَوْ مَا مَلَكَتْ أَيْمَانُهُمْ فَإِنَّهُمْ غَيْرُ مَلُومِينَ. Except from their wives or whom their right hands possess, meaning the slaves in the times of slavery, then they are free from blame. But whoever seeks beyond that, those are the transgressors. Brothers, if you do this, if you keep this duty to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then what? أُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْوَارِثُونَ. Then those will be the inheritors of Jannah. الَّذِينَ يَرِثُونَ الْفِرْدَوْسَ هُمْ فِيهَا خَالِدُونَ. Those who will inherit Al-Firdaus, and there they will live forever. This is the instruction. This is, if you want Firdaus A'la, this is what you need to do. Brothers and sisters, when the people will be entered into paradise, subhanallah, joy which cannot be described. The relief, the happiness, the excitement that you're going to Jannah. You know when you're going to Mecca, Medina, when you're for Umrah or Hajj, you feel excited, you want to go there, and you'll be so happy. When you arrive there, even more happier. Subhanallah. Jannah is even more so than that. Can you imagine? When they reach Jannah, the gates will have been opened for them already. And angels will be there to welcome them. Salamun alaykum. Peace be upon you. Enter. Udkhuluha bisalam. Enter with it in peace and security. Subhanallah. Angels to greet us. Jannah. When you enter into Jannah, its ground, as we said, is like pearl and soil, soft, saffron, musk smell. This is the powder, like a soil. So whoever enters there, nobody's going to be unhappy. When you go into Jannah, you will see the rivers of milk, rivers that will never ever go off. You will see wine that when it's drunk, it will never make you drunk and intoxicated. You'll see honey which never loses its sweetness. This is a description of paradise. For who? For those who are fearful of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They will drink from those places. A sea of honey, a sea of wine, a sea of milk. All this is going to be the drink only for the people of Jinnah. Kafur is one of the springs of Jinnah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions. Tasneem is another. Who is this for? Al-Abrar. Inna al-Abrar lafi na'im. Indeed, Al-Abrar will be in delight, the righteous people. عَلَى الْأَرَائِكِ يَنظُرُونَ. On thrones, not chairs. You'll have thrones like kings, sitting, looking on. تَعْرِفُ فِي وُجُوهِهِمْ نَضْرَةَ النَّعِيمِ. You'll be recognizing the faces of other people bright with delight. يُسْقَوْنَ مِنْ رَحِيقٍ مَخْتُومٍ. You'll be given to drink a pure sealed drink of wine. ختامه مسك. Its smell will be of musk, not like the stink of alcohol here. وفي ذلك فليتنافس المتنافسون. All of this for those who strive, who want to strive for Allah. ومزاجه من تسنيم. And that will mix with tasneem, a drink for those who are close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So there you'll be mixed wine with ginger, zanjabil, in a spring called salsabil. Jannah, this is one of the pleasures. Jannah, the life you'll live like a luxury millionaire. There because of your patience you had in this world. There you'll be respected, you'll be honored, you'll be given the best of dwellings, the best of places. Never mind penthouse apartments, palaces. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, لكن الذين اتقوا ربهم لهم غرف من فوقها غرف مبنية تجري من تحت الأنهار. That there they'll have, those who keep their duty to Allah, keep their duty to Him, they'll have lofty rooms, big huge rooms, one above the other, under which rivers flow. In fact, the example is not only rooms, they'll have houses or they have palaces made out of a pearl, a white solid pearl, 60 miles high. Subhanallah. Imagine 60 miles high. Beats any palace in this world. Can't imagine it. Subhanallah. Where you can see from the outside to inside, and inside to outside. Brothers, this, you'll have palaces decorated with gold and jewels and silver. This is for those who are fearful for Allah. And then you will have another pleasure on top of that. You know, here for men, one of the things beloved to men are women. Of course, it should be in marriage in a halal way. You know, this is one of the pleasures of life. To get married, to have a beautiful wife. In Jannah, you will not have a wife. You'll have many wives. These wives, subhanallah, they'll be so beautiful, so pure. Nobody has ever touched them before. They will be so beautiful, bright, shining. Their eyes like almonds. Their skin so fair. You can see through the bones to the marrow. And they will have eyes only for you. They'll never look at another man ever. Their eyes will only be for you and nobody else. And when we go to Jannah, we'll be guided towards our places. They'll be waiting there for us. Keen. Today, sadly, sometimes our wives, oh, you're home, yeah, okay. Those women will be waiting every time. Where is my husband from the dunya? Where is he? Where is he? They'll be waiting. Can you see him? Can you see him? And when they see, they'll embrace that husband. Subhanallah. Not one wife, many wives. Don't worry about polygamy in this world, brothers. We don't get it here. Jannah, you'll get it there. Subhanallah. Beautiful. حور مقصورات في الخيام. These will be hur. Hur is, they'll be in the pavilions waiting for you inside the houses for you. Subhanallah. So each one of those women will be not one, many. For the shaheed, 70 women. 70 women of paradise. There you will live with your wives. Of course, the wife from this world should be there in the akhirah. Now, some people think, would she be jealous of all those other women? Yeah, subhanAllah, you mentioned today, well, I'm thinking it'd be nice for me to have another wife. Our sisters will get the rolling pin out and say, how dare you, even though there's nothing wrong with that, just the actual thought of it. Huh? Why? Jealousy. Am I not enough for you? Because this is about, this is a human emotion which is which is enmity, bad feeling. Subhanallah. In Jannah, don't worry. In Jannah there is no bad feelings. Why? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَنَزَعْنَا مَا فِي صُدُورِهِم مِّنْ غِلٍّ. We'll remove from their chests any bad feeling, any hatred. So your wife in this dunya, she'll be happy. She'll be at the front of the line of the women of Jannah for you. So sisters, don't worry, you will not feel the same feelings you have in this world in the akhirah. All these, in fact, if every one of us, all bad feelings will be removed. So subhanallah, this is one of the other delights of Jannah. Subhanallah, if a woman of Jannah was to gaze down here, she'd fill the whole world with light. Her beauty. Subhanallah. We mentioned that Jannah, you'll have everything you want, in fact. Whatever you want, food, drink, it'll come to you. You just think of it, and you'll have servants coming to you, young youths, especially to wait on you hand and foot. You can be sat on your couches, on your thrones, reclining. I would like peri-peri chicken. Of course, better than that there. It'll come to you. Fruits will be brought to you. These fruits will be so delicious, so fragrant, better than the best fragrant mangoes you might like here, Chonsa, whichever you like, okay, Alfonso, and you'll taste it. Any season, it'll be there. You don't have to wait for it to grow. You just think it'll be brought to you, and you'll have this fruit. Oh, subhanallah, so sweet and succulent, delicious, tasty, juicy. And then you finish that, and then another one will be brought for you. We said, no, I just had that one. They said, no, this is another one. Same appearance, but a different one. And you'll eat this fruit and you'll say, oh, subhanallah, this is so beautiful, can't be any more delicious than this. And there'll be many fruits like that in Jannah. If you want barbecued, chicken, meat, fish, whatever you want, it'll come for you straight away. This is the pleasure of Jannah. Subhanallah. So you'll be there waiting, reclining, relaxing, food and drink brought to you just like that as you want it. Of course, we mentioned Jannah is a place where there is a lovely temperate climate there. You'll be relaxing. Never mind the Caribbean and oasis places, where you're hanging on their hammocks and resting on the golden sand beaches. Jannah, subhanAllah, will put all that into a mere nothingness. Subhanallah. There, as we said, you'll be in the shade. You'll have trees in Jannah as well. Not that it'll be too hot for you either. You'll be reclining, talking with each other what you used to do in this world, reminding yourself, men and women, by the way, no need for hijab there, because there'll be nothing of bad feeling there. Allah has removed that. So you'll see sisters here, maybe you used to wear niqab here, brothers, they'll interact together, family members. Why? There'll be no feelings of evil there. That will be removed. Pure thoughts for everybody. So this is Jannah. A Jannah, a place not of beauty only, but a place without any wastes. Sometimes you can go to the best places. You can go to America, Beverly Hills. You can go down to wherever it is, Kensington in London, okay? Whatever this place here, Heaton, I'm not sure what the best places here are. And you'll see lovely houses, villas, mansions maybe even. But you're going to have waste, rubbish. They'll have a wheelie bin somewhere at the back, maybe that's hiding. There in Jannah, no waste, no toilets, no urine, no feces, no sweating of smell. Subhanallah, those people, When they sweat, it will be of musk. And when they burp, it will be burps of musk. There'll be no urine or feces at all. That's how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make us with that. And when the first people who enter paradise, when they enter, they'll be as beautiful as a full moon. They will not spit or blow their noses. This is mucus. It comes as a reaction to something dirty that comes inside the nose or mouth. So there, you'll have nothing. No germs, free of bacteria. Subhanallah. As we said, those people will remember the times. Will remember how they used to be on earth. The hard times. But now, the people who are the good Muslims, remember them, they'll be in the company. And they'll remember, and they'll call out to the people of the hellfire. They'll say, وَنَادَى أَصْحَابُ الْجَنَّةِ أَصْحَابُ النَّارِ أَن قَدْ وَجَدْنَا مَا وَعَدَنَا رَبُّنَا حَقًّا فَهَلْ وَجَدْتُم مَّا وَعَدَ رَبُّكُمْ حَقًّا قالوا نعم فأذن مؤذن بينهم اللعنة الله على الظالمين. And the dwellers of paradise will call out to the dwellers of the hellfire, saying to them, we have indeed found true what our Rabb promised us. Have you also found true what your Rabb promised, meaning the warnings he gave you? And they'll say yes. And then a crier will proclaim between them, the curse of Allah is on the zalimun, the ones who are wrongdoers. In this world, non-Muslims used to argue with us. They used to try to humiliate us. You see what's happening around the world today. They will argue. Today you find persecution of Muslims, humiliation, imprisonment. Anyhow, they try to degrade us. And they think themselves superior. This is what it is. They think they are superior to us. They think we're backwards because we are not democratic like them. They think we don't have laws, we don't give everyone their rights. They try to make us feel in that way. Make us little. On that day, we will have the rights and they will be inferior, tasting the fuel of hellfire. The people will be remembering how we used to be in this world, of how they used to make fun at us, and today we are making fun at them. This is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has promised them. فَالْيَوْمَ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مِنَ الْكُفَّارِ يَضْحَكُونَ. But this day, those who believe will laugh at the disbelievers. We will be on high thrones. عَلَى الْأَرَائِكِ يَنظُرُونَ هل ثوب الكفار ما كانوا يفعلون. Are not the disbelievers paid fully for what they used to do? For sure. That is what they'll get. Brothers and sisters, Jinnah, a place where there'll be no more death and no more punishment. أَفَمَا نَحْنُ بِمَيِّتِينَ. Allah's asking, are we then not to die? Or informs the believers, إِلَّا مَوْتَتَنَا الْأُولَى وَمَا نَحْنُ بِمُعَذَّبِينَ. Except our first death, and we shall not be punished, meaning after we enter paradise. إِنَّ هَذَا لَهُوَ الْفَوْزُ الْعَظِيمُ. This is a supreme success. لِمِثْلِ هَذَا فَلْيَعْمَلِ الْعَامِلُونَ. For the like of this, let the workers work. You want that Jannah, that life, that'll be everlasting. You've got to work for it, brother and sister. It will not be given to you on a plate. You have to strive for it. Earn it. So this is the place, Jannah, where we will also experience the ultimate delight. And what is that? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وجوه يومئذ ناظرة إلى ربها ناظرة. Some face on that day will be shining, radiant, looking at what? At who? Looking at their Lord. They will look at Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to see Him. Ar-Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said in the meaning of the hadith, when the people of paradise enter paradise, Allah will say, do you want anything more? And they will say, have you not made our faces white? Meaning, you've honored us. Have you not admitted us to paradise and saved us from the fire? And then the veil will be lifted, the veil between the people of paradise and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And they will never have seen anything more dearer, more beautiful to them than looking at their Rabb unveiled subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, لِلَّذِينَ أَحْسَنُوا الْحُسْنَى وَزِيَادَةً. For those who have done good in this is the best reward, and even more. وَلَا يَرْهَقُ وُجُوهَهُمْ قَتَرٌ وَلَا ذِلَّةٌ. And even more, and that will be the honor of glancing at looking at Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's face, without any darkness or any dust coming in between. أولئك أصحاب الجنة هم فيها خالدون. So you'll see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala without a veil, no darkness or anything to scatter anything in between the light. You will see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is for who? For the people of paradise, the dwellers of paradise, those who will live there forever. In this verse, Al-Husna means Jannah, and Ziyada means more. The more that is asked here, like when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, لَهُمْ مَا يَشَاءُونَ فِيهَا وَلَدَيْنَا مَزِيدٌ. Mazid here also means, what is that will be given extra? That more? To see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Husna is the reward of paradise. It is the dwellings of paradise, the palaces. It is having servants hand and foot on you. It is the women of paradise. It is the food of paradise. It's the drink of paradise. But ziyada is to see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That will be the ultimate delight and pleasure, which is uncomparable to anything else in Jannah. In fact, what Imam Malik said regarding this ayah, he said this is a proof. Looking at their Rabb means literally you will see the face of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because some people misinterpret this. They said it means something else, and Imam Malik said no, they've lied. They will look at Allah on the day of resurrection with their own eyes. If the believers are not going to see their Rabb on the day of resurrection, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, why would He veil the kuffar from seeing Him? So this is a reality. We will be faced, or we will be given, insha'Allah ta'ala, the greatest, the dearest pleasure of all, to see our Creator, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala not forbid us from seeing His face. So brothers and sisters, this is the Jannah. This is the Jannah for who? Jannah for those who fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and who do righteous good deeds. This is the Jannah for those who protect their prayers and they do the fasting. Jannah for those who give the zakah. Jannah for those who can make the hajj, who can afford to, with their wealth and with their health. This is the Jannah for them. Jannah for those who sacrifice their sleep in the middle of the night and pray in that last third. Jannah for those who are dutiful to their parents, who obey their parents in what is good, what is halal and not in haram. Jannah is for those who are just and fair to their children when they raise them and teach them Islamic manners and training and morals, tarbiyah. Jannah is for those people who give the rights to their neighbors. Jannah for those people who give the rights to their brothers and sisters. Jannah for those people who call to Tawheed of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and live and act upon Tawheed. Jannah for those people who stay away from doing haram because they fear Allah, not only in public but in private. Jannah for those people who don't go into the illegal sexual acts of boyfriends and girlfriends and zina. Jannah for those people who guard their eyes, ghat al-basar, who lower their eyes and don't look at women. And for the women who lower their eyes and don't look at men. Jannah for those people who guard their tongues. When they speak, they don't speak evil, they stay away from that. They only try to speak what is good and pure. Jannah for those people who prevented their hands and their legs and the private parts from doing that which is forbidden. Jannah for those who strive in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with their wealth and their lives. Jannah for those who accepted Tawheed, lived their life on Tawheed, and died upon Tawheed. Brothers and sisters in Islam, those are the two divisions for the final outcome, for the final destination. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He made beneficial whatever little we had to give as advice, first for myself and then to my brothers and sisters. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that may He open our hearts to the guidance of Islam, to accept it wholeheartedly and not to pick and choose and to make excuses for not following Islam. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, may He forgive us our sins and our shortcomings, because we are indeed sinners. We have many sins as big as the ocean, and we try to kid ourselves that we've been promised Jannah, or we think we give ourselves a false sense of security, trying to think that yes, we're going to enter Jannah no problem. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept from us our righteous good deeds, which were done only for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and for no other reason. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He saves us from the punishments of the hellfire and that He admits us into His everlasting gardens of paradise. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, oh Allah, give us the highest levels of paradise, Jannatul Firdaus al-A'la, there to be with the shuhada, the martyrs and the righteous people and the prophets and messengers of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allahumma habib ilayna al-iman wa zayyinuhu fi qulubina wa karrih ilayna al-kufr wal-fusuq wal-isyan waj'alna min al-rashidin. Allahumma ya muqallib al-qulub ثبت قلوبنا على دينك. اللهم أصلح شباب المسلمين واجعلهم هداة مهتدين لا ضالين ولا مضلين. اللهم وفقهم لطاعتك وجنبهم أسباب سخطك واجعلهم ذخرا للإسلام والمسلمين. اللهم إنا نسألك الجنة وما قرب إليها من قول وعمل ونعوذ بك اللهم من عذاب النار ومن عذاب جهنم وما قرب إليها من قول وعمل. اللهم أصلح نساء المسلمين واحفظهن من التبرج والسفور ومن تضليل الكفرة والمفسدين. ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما. سبحانك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك وجزاكم الله خير والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله.